Today we're going to start working on 7.3, solving addition and subtraction equations. Today I'm going to teach you some rules for things that will help us whenever we're solving addition and subtraction equations. So the rules that you want to remember whenever we're doing this kind of problem is, first of all, identify the variable. What is a variable? A letter, any letter of the alphabet. So you figure out amidst all of these numbers what the letter is. So once you find the variable, you got to move any numbers that are around the variable that are keeping it from being alone on that side with an inverse operation. Now read to me what inverse operations are. Okay, so basically finding an operation that undoes something else. You have to find the one that's opposite. What's the opposite of addition? Subtraction. So then, same idea, what's the opposite of subtraction? Addition. What's the opposite of multiplication? Division. And what's the opposite of division? Multiplication, okay? And then just remember, what you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So let's do a couple problems together. So our instructions tell us to solve the equation and check the solution. Let's use those rules that we just talked about in our notes. First of all, rule number 1, what does it tell us to do? Identify the variable. What is my variable? X. Now, the second step says, move the number that's keeping the variable from being alone. What is keeping that X from being alone? 13. That 13, okay? So you're almost imagining where this equal sign is, this is half, okay? So this is the left half of the problem, this is the right half of the problem. So my goal is to get this X right here all by itself. So I have to get rid of plus 13. What is the opposite or an inverse operation of plus 13? Negative 13. So I'm going to do negative 13 to the left side, to the left of the equal sign. I have to be fair. My third rule says what I do to one side, I have to do to the other side. So if I do negative 13 to the left side, I am also going to do negative 13 to the right side. So we know 13 minus 13, a number and its opposite always equals what? 0. Okay, that's the inverse operation. So I can just cross that out, and on the left side, all that I'm left with is plain old X. So I'm going to bring X down, line up your equal sign, and now we're going to do the right side. 46 minus 13. What's 6 minus 3?
3.
3. 4 minus 1?
33.
3. So my answer is X equals 33. Now, it has asked me to check this. How many of you remember doing problems like this before? Okay. Yes, in 3rd grade, your teacher taught you these kind of things, and hopefully you've done it in 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. But let's go ahead and plug that back in. All I'm doing now is I'm going to rewrite this right here, the original equation that I had. So I have X plus 13 equals 46. At first, it says X plus 13. Do I know what X is? Yes, you just boxed it in. What is X? 33. So instead of putting an X there, I'm going to actually put a 33 there. What is 33 plus 13? 46. Bring down your equal sign, bring down your 46. Does 46 equal 46? Yes. So give yourself a little check mark because it did check out. Let's go on to problem B. X plus 7 equals negative 10. Let's go back to our rules that we had at the beginning. What's the first thing you have to do? Look at the steps. What does step number 1 say? Identify the variable. What is my variable? X, okay? Step number 2, what's it say? Move the number that's keeping the variable from being all alone. Addison, what's keeping the variable from being alone? 7. So what's the opposite of plus 7? Negative 7. If I do negative 7 to the left side, I have to do negative 7 to the right side. You got to be fair and do it to the same sides, okay? So I could put my equal sign there. Plus 7 minus 7. What can I do with that?
0.
Cancel it out. Draw a line through it. I'm left with plain old what? Plain old x is still there. Next up, negative 10 minus 7. Same sign, add and keep, different signs, subtract and take. What is negative 10 minus 7? Negative 17 is correct, and that's your final answer. Now it asks me to check it. You've got to recheck and put that back into your original equation. So instead of writing x plus 7 equals negative 10, what am I going to write? Negative 17
plus 7
equals okay, so all you did is you took this right here and you rewrote it, but you switched the x for what you had just found out your answer was. What is negative 17 plus 7?
10.
Not 10. Take the sign of the larger number. Negative 10. Does negative 10 equal negative 10? Give yourself a check mark because it checked out. Identify the variable. What's my variable, guys? X. What is keeping the x from being on its own side all by itself? Negative 18. What is the inverse operation of negative 18? Positive 18. So we're going to add 18 to the left side and we're going to add 18 to the right side because whatever you do to one side, you got to do to the other. Okay? I'm going to bring down that equal sign. Negative 18, positive 18, what can I do to it? Cancel it out. I'm left with on the left side, plain old x. And what is 35 plus 18? 53. Okay? Now let's check it to see if it's right. What did you put for checking?
53 minus 18 equals 35.
All right? And did it check out? You are correct. 35 does in fact equal 35. Nice work. Problem D says negative 9 equals y minus 12. What's my variable?
12. I mean y.
Y. What is keeping y from being by itself?
Negative 12.
So what's the inverse operation of negative 12?
Positive 12.
Positive 12. What else do I do?
And you put plus positive 12 again.
Okay, put it on the other side because we got to be fair to both sides. Keep going.
Then you put, and then negative 9 minus plus 12, equals 3. And 3 equals y.
Okay, what do I do with my negative 12 and positive 12?
It's a 0.
Okay, I canceled that out. Great job. Check it for me.
Negative 9 equals 3 minus 12.
Okay, what is 3 minus 12?
Negative 9.
Does that check out?
Yes.
Excellent. All right, let's go on to the next example. I want you to write this down for me. Combine like terms on the same side of the equal sign first. Looking at the same side of the equal sign, if I look at this side, it says 16 plus a plus 5 equals 25. Is there anything else on this side of the equal sign? Remember, we're kind of dividing it right here. Is there anything else there on the 25 that I can combine together?
16 plus
On the side of the 25?
No.
No. So then let's look at this other side. Do you see anything there that I could combine together? 16 and 5. What is 16 plus 5? 21. Okay, so we combine that side. You cannot combine this side with that because it's on the opposite side of the equal sign. So now I have 21 plus a equals 25. That looks a little bit more similar to what I've been doing all day today. Okay, what's my variable here? A. How do I get a by itself?
Negative 21.
Negative 21. I got to do the opposite of 21. Do it to both sides. What can I cancel out on the left side?
21.
21 and negative 21. I'm left with plain old
4.
0.
A. You got to have your variable. What is 25 minus 21?
4.
4. So your answer is A equals 4. Let's plug that back in. Remember, I'm taking my original equation and rewriting it, but instead of rewriting the A, I'm putting a 4. 16 plus 4 is?
20.
Plus 5?
25.
Does 25 equal 25?
Yes.
Excellent job. On this side, is there anything that you can combine together?
Yes.
What is it?
1.3 plus 4.
What is 1.3 plus 4?
7.
Not 1.7.
It's 4.3.
Use your calculator. What is 1.3 plus 4?
Oh,
5.3.
I put 4.3.
2 equals 5.3
eraser.
plus a.
So it was
Identify the variable, which is a. You got to get a by itself. What's the opposite of 5.3?
not even.
negative
Oh,
5.3.
Negative 5.3. You got to do it to both sides. Once again, you're allowed to use your calculators, so pull it out for me and figure out what 2 minus 5.3 is. The correct answer is negative 3.3.
I was so close.
Okay, so here's what's happening when I plug this in. 2 equals 1.3 plus, your answer is negative 3.3
Plus 4.
plus 4. Okay?
It is 2.
It is 2. 2 equals 2, and that is correct.
Everything goes
Let's do one more problem together. It says to write the verbal sentence as an equation and then actually solve the equation. So let's look at the first one. We're going to read it from left to right. But if you remember that blue piece of paper, the handout that I gave to you earlier that said words into math, there were some special things you wanted to remember. You want to remember your parenthesis words, and you want to remember your turnaround words. On this problem right here, it says 5 less than a number p is negative 17. Do you see any parenthesis words or turnaround words in there?
Less than.
Less than is a what kind of word? A turnaround word. Underline it so that you remember it's a turnaround word. So whatever would have been at the beginning is now going to be at the end. Whatever would have been at the end is now going to be at the beginning. So, Tati, help me out. What sign goes with less than? Subtraction, okay? So now, should this 5 go at the beginning or the end of that subtraction sign? At the end, because it's a turnaround word, okay? Can you help me do it?
Yes, negative 17 equals p, minus p.
We're going to start with this right here. Where's the 5 go? To the right or the left of the negative sign? We're turning it around.
The left. Right.
The right. Okay, now a number p, this part right here. Where's that go? To the right or the left of that minus sign? To the left. Now read it from left to right.
P minus 5 equals 17. Negative 17.
Equals negative 17, okay? So that right there is how you write the verbal sentence, but it's also asked me to solve it. So we're going to solve it exactly like we did today. Find the variable. What's the variable?
P.
P. What is keeping p from being by itself?
5.
Not 5.
Negative.
Negative 5. Remember, every number has a sign, and what? The sign is directly in front of that number. So the opposite of negative 5 is positive 5. Whatever I do to the left side, I have to do to the right side. These cancel out. I'm left with plain old p. What is negative 17 plus 5?
Negative 12.
Negative 12. Once again, if you want to go back through, it didn't tell you you had to check, but if you want to go back through and check it, negative 12 minus 5 equals negative 17. Same sign, add the numbers, keep the sign. Negative 17 does equal negative 17. Okay, and that's everything that you need today. Tonight's homework is 7.3. Go ahead and write this down for me. Great job listening today, guys.